Okay, another game, but this time with the white pieces. So we're gonna start by occupying the center, so I'm gonna play e4. Okay, he plays e5. Now, if I go d4, he just takes. I mean, I can take back, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna develop the pieces. So I'm gonna start with this knight, because I'm also attacking the pawn. And then develop the other knight. Bishop out somewhere, and then just castle. Okay, he plays bishop c5. I guess let's just copy him. Okay, now we both have the same setup. Let's just castle. Okay, he does the same. Now I guess d3 to open up the bishop. So let's do that. Okay, he plays d5. So if I take, he takes, I take, he takes, I take, so I just win the trade. Now, do I take with the pawn, the bishop, or the knight? So if I take with the bishop, then he gets the bishop pair, and I don't want that. I think this bishop is a great piece, so I'm not gonna trade it for his knight. And also taking with the pawn, yes, it attacks his knight, but then my pawns are kind of doubled, so that's why I'm gonna take with the knight. And if he trades, I'm gonna take with the bishop to keep my pawn structure intact. Okay, just take back. So now I'm up a pawn. So he's, I guess, intending me to trade, but I'm not gonna trade because this is a free pawn. So I don't see any reason for me not to take the e5 pawn. If he develops the rook and attacks my knight, I just drop back, and I guess he can pin me there. Okay, he goes back. I mean, he attacks my knight. Now I have to go back. If I go here, notice that the bishop is x-raying my king, so then he would have some discover check, so I cannot do that. So if I move back, takes, takes, I guess my pawns are doubled, but queens are off the board, and also I'm up a pawn. I can also go back here, but then he has c6 and my bishop is trapped. Can also go here and just take and take. I guess I can go here. I don't really know which one would be the best. So if I go to f3, then he can also pin my knight, so that's why I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna attack the queen. If he takes, I just trade, and I just noticed that I blundered this pawn. So I guess, what was the move? I don't even know. Okay, he goes. Yeah, that's a weird move, I guess. Okay, he's attacking my knight, but I can just defend it by playing h3. Can also move it. Oh, let's defend. And then I really want to kick out this knight because it's annoying, because it's tying my queen down to this pawn. So if he takes, I have to take with the pawn, because if I take with the queen, then when we trade, he can take this one. Okay, so now he's threatening a checkmate. I can go f4. I can also go g3. I guess g3. But g3, take. He can sacrifice actually. And he has a draw there. So if I go g3, he can take. I have to take because it's a checkmate threat. So he takes, I take, he takes, and then we just repeat this, and it's a draw actually. So if I want to play for a win, I actually have to go for f4. I think that's the only move. Now if he goes back to line up some discover check, I just play bishop e3 and I'm fine. Okay. What? I'm just confused because I can take the knight 3 times, so what's going on here? So let's look at the most accurate capture. If I take with a pawn, I'm allowing the draw, so take, he has check, have to move check, have to move check, and it's just a repetition. If I take with the rook, I drop this pawn, so that's why the only logical capture, recapture is with the queen, because I'm also defending the pawn. Now with check, I just block. I forgot to mention this. Okay, but he doesn't even check. I guess let's just develop the bishop. I can also take this pawn, but it's not a necessity now. We have to first develop the pieces. Because yes, we do win a pawn, but I want to develop my pieces so nothing happens here. Because the king is the priority. Okay, now he attacks my bishop, but I can just drop back. Now I want to trade the queens, because I'm up in material and he's attacking me. So maybe queen h3 comes to mind. Okay, he's defending the pawn, because I was threatening, but I wouldn't really take that pawn, because I want to get the queens off the board. Now, I guess we can play this move. We can also bring the rook to the center. I like this one, so let's do queen h3. Now he will probably drop back, maybe here, or even to e7. Okay, he trades. This is just over now, because now there is no more attack. Okay, now I'm forced to trade, but I would trade anyways, because now my bishop is pinned to the king, but I obviously want to trade. And he also has doubled isolated pawns. Okay, so now we're up a piece and 2 pawns. So now what we're gonna do is just develop the last rook. And then, okay, what's the point of this move? I don't get it. I guess when I move the bishop he's gonna take or something. But let's just advance the pawn. I want to get my pawn to e6, so in the event of him trading, I get the open file, so I can get into the position. And if he doesn't trade, okay, so I guess he's gonna play a4 so that I take and he gets in, but we're just training the pawns there, so I don't care. And if he doesn't take, so e6 and he goes f6, then I can go e7 discovered check. So it will be discovered check by the bishop, and I'm also gonna be attacking the rook. Then probably the best move for him is to block with the rook, but then we trade. So here check by the bishop. He blocks, I take, king takes, and I'm up a full rook there. So that's why I'm gonna go e6. Okay, he just moves away, but now I can just take. Guess he's gonna go a4 or something. Okay. Now I can also move away, but I think this one is the best, because in the event of him taking, I can lock the rook in jail. Look at that. Now his rook cannot move. This is everything is defended. So if I want to be really annoying, I can just walk my king to c3 and then win the rook, so he would have to sacrifice. But I think I have a win here, yes, and he made a fatal mistake. So now here we have a checkmate in two moves. It's a back rank checkmate. If I promote, he obviously takes, but I can go rook e8 check. His king is in check, he cannot move, so his only defense is to take the rook, but then I promote. And this is a checkmate. I'm gonna promote to a rook. So this is game. So he takes, and then I promote to a rook. Okay, he resigns. Now let's look at the analysis. Let's turn off the engine. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. So obviously he's defending the pawn. And then I just develop my other knight. He develops the bishop. I develop this bishop. I want to castle. Obviously I'm also looking if he's attacking anything, but he's not. This move attacks my pawn, but it's defended, so we're good. So that's why I castled. He castles. I play d3. My intention is to get the bishop out. And then he blunders the pawn. And I take with the knight. So first of all, this does win a pawn, but I do not want to give him the bishop. So that's why I'm taking with the knight. Obviously, pawn takes. I have just doubled pawns. It's also fine, but I like this move, knight takes, because we just trade knights, but I also get a pawn, so I'm just clearly better. He jumps to d4. I take. Now let's look at the engine here. Okay, so the engine wants me to give up 2 pieces for a rook and a pawn, because my pieces are so tangled up. Okay. So engine wants take, 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 and take. I give 2 pieces for a rook and a pawn, which is usually not good, but in this case my pieces are so tangled up that I have to do that. If I go back, he has bishop g4, pin. So I chose to go here. Okay, a bishop takes and takes. This is the best. But then I would just move away. I do give him a pawn back, but I'm still up 1 pawn. So I'm up 2 pawns in this position. So if I give a pawn back, I'm still better. Okay, but he chose to go to h4. And then probably the best move was, like the engine said, to just move the knight away. I'm also blocking this diagonal. I chose to make a Luft square, so as you saw, he got back rank checkmated. Now, if he played h6, this would never happen, so that's why I also here I played h3, so in the future I can never get back rank checkmated because my king has a square to go to. And obviously I'm also defending the knight. He takes. I have to take with the pawn. I mean, I can also take with the queen, but then he just wins a pawn. So that's why I take the bishop with the pawn. So I keep the c2 pawn defended. He goes here. Obviously, this is a checkmate, so that's why I have to block. Now, if I go g3, I'm attacking the queen, but he can sacrifice. And this is a draw. So he can just repeat moves here. So that's why I chose to play, let's look at the engine. So he goes here, e5, what's the point? And then g3. Okay, yeah, this is the engine. So the point is, you go e5 first, so then he cannot sacrifice because I can block now. Because as you can see here, the pawn is still on e4, so the bishop cannot go back, but when I go e5 now, the bishop can go back. But I think, okay, so this is a draw. I mean, it's equal now if he plays queen g3, and then I don't even know. I guess the threat is knight. No, what's even the threat? I haven't seen it. Okay, I don't know. But he obviously is not gonna play the top engine moves. So f4, the idea is I'm just blocking this checkmate. He goes check, which is just, I don't understand, because I don't even see a reason why he would play that. Like, even if he missed the move, but I don't see it, because I have 3 defenders of this square. So I guess he missed that I cannot take the knight in all 3 cases. I guess he was hoping for pawn takes and then this repetition again. I don't know. I obviously take with the queen. I'm still defending his pawn, because if I take with the rook, he can take here. So take, he brings his rook. If he gave a check here, I just block. Takes, takes, takes. Yes, I lose a pawn. I can also win this one. And then, okay, I guess he gets a pawn back, but I'm +4 in material, so so I'm totally winning. But he doesn't do that. Now I do not take this pawn. Yes, it's a free pawn, but I don't want to get in any complications. I'm up, as you can see, +5, so I'm up a piece and 2 pawns. Now I do not need another pawn. I'm completely winning. I do not need another pawn. I just want to play as simply as possible, just develop the pieces so nothing bad happens. So that's why I develop my bishop. He attacks my bishop on d5, I just move back. He plays b6, the idea is, I guess, he's defending the pawn, so let's say if he played some random move I could take here, but again I wouldn't do that. I would probably play something like queen h3 just to get rid of the queens. That's why I played on the next turn, and then he traded. He should have gone back, let's say, to here. As you can see, the engine... Okay, the engine actually says to take. Weird. I guess because the engine sees all of the complications, but for a human, definitely you do not want to trade queens here. Because if you're in black shoes, you're down in material, you have to keep the queens on the board. But he decided to trade, and then he also decided to trade the bishop. Now I just bring in my last piece into the game, and then I start to advance the pawn, because here, as you can see, I have all of my 8 pawns on the board still, so I have to trade off a pawn, because I have to get an open file so my rooks can get into his position. So that's why I go here. In the game I was talking about, so first of all, if he takes, then I just get in. And if he goes f6, so if he doesn't want to take, then I go check by the bishop. Now, if he goes back, I obviously just take. So the best move for him would be probably to play rook f7. Now I'm noticing here that I have checkmate in 2 moves. I didn't even see that. So I do not take the rook, but I go check. He has to take and then check, and he cannot block because the rook is pinned. So that would be a nice way to end the game. But in the game he just moved the king away. Now I take, obviously. He attacks my bishop, and then I put his rook in jail. You should remember this pattern. His rook cannot go anywhere, so I could just bring in the king, and eventually he would have to sacrifice the rook for the bishop. And then he just blunders the checkmate. Obviously, probably the best move for him was to make a Luft square. Maybe this one, I don't even know which one is better, but some pawn moves, so there is no back rank checkmate. But obviously this is game over. Now, obviously promoting to a queen is also fine, but I think promoting to a rook is a bit better, because if you can promote to a rook, you should do it, because it looks nicer. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you next time.